name is Rachel, and today I'm bringing you some ideas for task number 9 on our Book Riot Read Harder Challenge for 2019. So this challenge is a book published prior to January 1st, 2019 that has fewer than 100 reviews on Goodreads. So this is a little bit harder to find just general pieces for, because you can't really just search Goodreads, I feel like, for the least amount of reviews. However, you can search your own books. So what I did is I went to my books, I went under books that I want to read, and then I just sorted them, which you can do at the bottom. So I sorted them, number of ratings ascending, and that'll show you. Now I do have a lot of books that haven't come out yet that are on there, so you will have to go through and check your dates, but it was very easy then for me to go through and find books that were published already, meaning before 2019 basically, that were on this list that did not have many views on it. So that would be how I recommend for you to get started if you really don't have any idea where to go, because that's what I did, and I was able to find several books that I own that had fewer than 100 reviews on there. So my only problem is I wonder if this will change. Do you know what I mean? Like if you wait and read it later, it might, maybe you can make over 100, so you're just gonna have to be careful. So today I'm basically going to give you several books that I have on my shelf that are under 100 that you might also be interested in. These might not necessarily be applying to you, but here's some ideas to go with. And again, I definitely would look at your Goodreads want to read list in order of reviews. Alright, so first of all, I went through, on Goodreads I have a list of books that I physically own, so I went through those first. So I'm just going to rattle these off pretty quickly, just to give you some ideas, because maybe you can find these yourself if you would like to read them, and then I'm going to go through some that I don't have that I found just from my want list on Goodreads. So first up is the Mammoth Book of Historical Crime Fiction. This is by Mike Ashley and several other authors. This was published in 2011. Only has 11 views. That one would work. Next up is another author that I met locally. This is The Bard and the Bible, a Shakespeare devotional by Bob Hostetler, and it just sounded so interesting to me. So I decided to pick this one up. It only has 51 reviews, so this one would definitely work. Next up is The Gravedigger's Son. This is a middle grade children fantastical suspense story. It only has 25 reviews. It's by Patrick Moody. The Gravedigger's Son by Patrick Moody, and it was published last year, 2017. Next up, it is called Finding My Badass Self, A Year of Truths and Dares by Sherry Stanfa Stanley, and I really think this is going to be a lot of fun to read. It only has 35 reviews, so this will definitely work. Next up is Gertie Milk and the Keeper of Lost Things by Simon Van Bowie. I was sent this by a publisher and just have still managed not to get to it, but it's marketed as perfect for fans of Seraphina and the Black Cloak. This is a middle grade story, and it was published in 2017. Only has 22 reviews. Next is Oh My Darling by Shiana Lambert, and this is a collection of short stories. This was published in 2013, only has 11 reviews. Next up is The Killers Next Door by Joel Norris, and this was published in 2002, only has 5 reviews. Next up is an author that I did get to meet, and this book just sounds so interesting. It is not quite in my wheelbase, but it could be very, very fun to read. It's called Dead Distillers, A History of the Upstarts and Outlaws Who Made American Spirits. This is by Colin Spolman and David Haskell. This was published in 2016 and only has 14 reviews. Next up is the Mammoth Book of Crime Stories, and this is by Maxim Jakubowski. I apologize if I butchered that name. This is just an anthology of crime stories. It was published originally in 2009, and it only has 8 reviews. And then lastly, on my physical list, I have With an Axe by H. Paul Jeffers. This is a collection of true crime stories, all involving an axe murder, and this was published in 2000. It only has 1 review. Alright, so then I went through just the books that I wanted to read. These are books that I just found in the world, and they have fewer than 100, so again, I'm just going to rattle these off to give you some ideas. First up is Smart Girl, Success, School, and the Myth of Post-Feminism. This is by Shauna Pomerantz and Rebecca Raby. This is a 2017 publication, and it only has 3 reviews, so this would definitely work. Next up is Thrift Store Coats by Brooks Rexroth. This has 14 reviews, was published in 2018, and I believe this is a collection of short stories. I absolutely love this cover. Next up is Son of a Predator. This is, it says, based on actual events and inspired by the Me Too movement and Time's Up movements. This was published in 2018, and this is by David Davis. It only has 12 reviews. Next up, I'm including this one because technically I haven't read all of the books, but I'm going to give you the first book in the series. It's The Race to Chimney Rock by Jessie Wiley. This is Oregon Trail book number 1. I think I've read 1 and 3, but there's 4 books, and it's like a choose your own adventure on the Oregon Trail. So it's basically like the Oregon Trail game, but in a book form. They're awesome. They're so much fun. I love them. And yeah, the first one only has 21 reviews, so I bet you're good on all books in the series. Next up, I found 2 Kindle books on the Dyatlov Pass incident. One by Alexander Popov that was produced in 2014. Self-published, which would work for another one of these. And Don't Go There, The Mystery of the Dyatlov Pass by Svetlana Os. And again, self-published, so that would work for another task. Both of these have very few reviews. One has 1 review, one has 2 reviews. Both of those would work. Another one that I'm surprised by, it must be just that it came out so late in 2018. It was in September, but it's called My Mother, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and the Last Stand of the Angry White Man by Kevin Powell. This I mentioned in one of my most anticipated books last year. I'm super excited to read it. I can't believe there's only 5 reviews, so yeah, that's definitely on the list. Next up is You Are Not Your Thoughts, The Secret Magic of Mindfulness by Frances Trussell. This was released in 2018 and has 29 reviews, so that works. Down in the Belly of the Whale, a contemporary story about family and friendships for fans of Eleanor Porter and L.M. Montgomery. This is a YA novel that came out in 2018, and it only has 40 reviews. Next up is The Missing. This is the 4th book in the Shadow House series by Dan Pawlowski. This one only has 6 reviews, and it came out in August, so this one should be good. This is an option because I've read the other books in those series. Next up is Science Comics, The Brain, The Ultimate Thinking Machine. Now, this could possibly be true for other science comic books, but this was the first one that came up, so I picked this one. The Science Comic series is awesome. It's like a textbook just translated into fun comic form, and they talk about like dogs and sharks and all kinds of different topics, but this one particularly is about the brain. It's by Tori Woolcott and Alex Grodins, and this was put out in 2018, only has 32 reviews, so that one would work. M in the Middle, Secret Crushes, Mega Colossal Anxiety, and the People's Republic of Autism by the students of Linfield Grand School and Vicky Martin. This sounds fantastic. I have been wanting to read it since it came out. Because it involves students with autism, I just think that's fantastic. This came out in 2016 and only has 15 reviews. Next up is St. Philomene's Infirmary for Magical Creatures by W. Stone Cotter. This sounds adorable. I meant to read it for a readathon last year and just never got around to it and had to take it back to the library. This is a children's book that came out in 2018, 17 reviews, so that would be good. Selling Dead People's Things, Inexplicably True Tales, Vintage Fails, and Objects of Objectionable Estates by Dwayne Scott Cerny. This one just, I think this sounds so interesting. There's only 29 reviews. It came out in 2018. That would definitely work. And then my last selection for you is one that I'm getting ready to read next month for a challenge. It's called Unprecedented, a biography of Donald Trump by Martha Brokenbraw, and this came out in December, and it only has 28 reviews as of right now, so if you hop on that one, it should work. So, rapid succession of a bunch of different options. This one just has so much potential for diversity and any books you'd want to read that aren't super popular. So I'm excited to see what people come up with, and as always, let us know down below if you have any ideas or suggestions. So thank you for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow with task number 10.